My beautiful friends, and welcome to Mercury Travel, where I share the beauty of travel with you. If we haven't met before, I am Stormy, and I moved with my family of 4 and a really big dog to Spain on the digital nomad visa. And in this video, I want to answer the question that I get asked a lot about the cost of living difference between the United States, we lived in Colorado, and Spain, we live in southern Spain. And this is something that I just think it's such a mind-blowing conversation for me when we actually lay the numbers out, because the math was not mathing when we were living in the United States, especially for as much stress as we were under, and also for what our country was giving us back. Right? Now, if we haven't met before, I follow a lot of the principle of Andrew Henderson. And if you have never watched Andrew Henderson, I would love for you to check him out at Nomad Capitalist. But he works with 5 words: go where you are treated best. And that even means if your country is not treating you right, the entire world is open for business. And that is one of the reasons we ended up in Spain. If you want to hear more about my journey and why we actually decided to move to Spain, that video will be at the end of this one, and you can click into my playlist and check it out. But in this video, let's jump in here and talk about the math and the mathing, because relocating your family and picking up and deciding to go someplace else and actually join an entirely different culture, I think has to really be worth it. And some of it is just the practicalities of coming down to the numbers. What are the numbers? Will this make sense for this kind of a move? Now, for us, again, we came as a full family. This was 4 people, a really large dog. So the math needed to make sense for what we were going to be doing. So I'm going to share with you what the actual numbers are of what we were paying in our household versus what we are paying here, actual numbers in Spain as well, so that you can see the cost analysis difference. Okay? Let's start first with housing, because you've got to have some place to live. You got to put a roof over your head. Now, for context, in our lives, we were homeowners and we had a 5-bedroom home, 3-bathroom. Okay. And we were paying just a little bit over $2,200 a month for our mortgage. Okay. Now, we decided as we came to Spain that we did not want to own a home. We did not think that that was awesome. So we decided when we came here, we wanted to move into the space of a piso, at least for our first couple years. So we weren't worrying about that. Now, the apartment that we moved into a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, really large piso in the absolute center of Spain. And our rent is 1,500 euro per month. Now, something else that I wanted to say here, that just in considering your cost, you can adjust your housing cost depending how close to the center of a city that you're going to move, or if you're going to move a little bit further out. Realistically, you can expect to spend anywhere between 600 and 1,200 euro per month on your housing, depending on where you decide that you want to live. However, in terms of our numbers for cost comparison, we had the 5-bedroom house for about 2,200, and now we've got a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom in the middle of town for 1,500 euro. Okay. Now, this is where we also want to include the other things that go into housing, like your utilities, your water, and your internet. So in utilities in the United States, I was easily, for a household of 4 people, that's 2 adults, 2 teenagers, and the dog, of course, I was easily paying $500 a month easy in utilities. Now here, every month in utilities, if we get to 100 euros a month, that is absolutely like we have gone crazy that month. And we are working as digital nomads, right? So we are in our home a lot. We are using a lot of lights. We're using a lot of power. A lot of things are plugged in, and you share energy here, right? So when we are consuming here as Americans. And it's really a stretch when we get to 100 euro a month in our utility bill. Water, back in the United States, easily I had a water bill between $80 to $100 a month. Sometimes it was upward of that as well. In Spain, we pay our water bill in every quarter. Now, the highest quarter of water usage for 4 people in this home in a quarter was 75 euro. Okay, so cost comparison there, we're seeing what these numbers are looking at. Internet, I was absolutely paying $150 a month in terms of my internet in the United States. I pay $54 every month for high-speed internet that is absolutely fantastic here in Spain. So the cost of what it takes to actually run our home, run the utilities inside of the home, run the internet, those kinds of things, we can see that there is a really nice cost saving here as well. The other thing I wanted to say about energy is that in Spain, not every home is equipped with air conditioning and heating. We chose where we are living because we had to have an air conditioner. My husband is like a really muscly guy, and he just is like a big furnace. So we needed to make sure that we absolutely had an air conditioner. And when I'm telling you that those eat up a lot of electricity, they eat up a lot of energy, right? And I'm telling you, we still pay 100 euro in energy a month, and that's if we're really going wild. Now, other things that are happening inside the home are foods and groceries. Okay, when we were leaving the United States, I remember going to the grocery store and I just got 5 or 6 things, and I walked out of the grocery store and the bill was about $80. And in a month, we were easily spending between $900 and $1,000 in just our food and our grocery cost. And that's not talking about going to eat out, because that's something we really cut back on because it was just getting quite pricey. So we'll put it at between $600 and $900 a month in the United States for food and groceries. At the Spanish grocery store, I go in and we fill up for the week, because we usually buy by week instead of buying like in bulk. They do have a Costco here, but we usually buy by week. But if I pull out the monthly cost, we spend between maybe 400 and 600 euros a month. And that includes going to eat out. Okay, so that also includes our groceries that we need to function on a day-to-day basis. Again, my husband is in the gym all of the time, so he eats a lot of protein, a lot of meat. There's a lot of consumption going on, right, of food, and we're able to do it between about 400 and 600 euro a month. So again, Spain's the winner on that. Now, we also have our dog here, okay, and we have to budget in his monthly costs as well, because he's a dog that has special needs, special dietary needs, and things like that. We were buying his food that was specially a specialty food in the United States, and it was about $80 a bag every month. Here, he gets a different specialty food that is absolutely fantastic quality for his little belly, and we pay about $40 a month, 40 euro a month, okay? Here as well, he is also able to see the vet every month to just do checkups. We're on a checkup plan with him since he's a little bit of an older dog and he did have a knee replacement. And every time he goes to the vet to do these little checkups, it's about 10 euros. So if you are coming with a pet, I just want to let you know that the pet care is absolutely affordable here as well. Now, when it comes to transportation in the United States, we had cars, okay? We had 2 cars for the adults, and we also had a car that one of our teenager was driving. So we had cars and car payments. Her car was paid off. We had payments on the other 2 cars, which was anywhere between $300 and $260 a month for those 2 particular cars. Then, of course, we had insurance on top of that, $200 per vehicle, and then there were registrations for that every year, so about $200 for all of those vehicles in addition, okay? So in the end, when we're looking at just the cost of having the car, not even the gas to function it every month, we're looking at what's the total of that. We're close to $1,000 just to even have the cars a month, okay? Now, in Spain, we opted to not have a car at all, and we live in the center of everything, so everything is walkable. So we use a lot of PAs, our feet, and we use a massive amount of public transportation that functions so efficiently. So every month, as we're using public transportation, if we're using it for things around the city, we spend about 10 euros, which is the equivalent of maybe about $12 in transportation costs as we're traveling throughout the month. Now, if we want to go, if I wanted to go from southern Spain up to another city or another town, and I wanted to do that several times a month, the transportation cost comes out to, our highest has been about 60 euros, and that's making multiple city to city trips and things like that. And that's on the planes, or not on the planes, that is not the planes, that is on the buses, and that is going to be on the metro and on the trains. Okay, so again, and we're looking at cost of transportation, we were able to give up the cost of vehicles, paying for them, the cost of registering those things, the cost of the insurance on those, right? And the cost of the maintenance on them as well. Now, again, when we're talking about looking at the vehicles as well, you have to include in the United States fueling that particular vehicle. So I know that in our vehicles, we ended up somewhere in the vicinity of like $450 a month in fueling these different vehicles that we were using. And again, in our real numbers here in Spain, because we don't have a vehicle, we get to save all of that money and not use it. Healthcare. Let's just get on to the healthcare. Okay, so in the United States, for my family of 4, we were looking at a premium for our healthcare provider, which was going to be just at the tip of $900 a month for the premium. And that was actually not going to touch the copays or the specialty doctors that my youngest daughter needs to see. So let's just put it at the $900. Let's just start right there, because that's what the monthly premium was going to be. And then again, if we went to any of these places, there were going to be copays, and there were also going to be the additional doctor's fees, including the prescriptions. Okay, so that is healthcare. Here in Spain, we have not only national health insurance, because we do pay into the Spanish social security system, but we also have private health insurance. For my private health insurance policy, which is fully comprehensive, covers all 4 of us and includes full comprehensive dental as well, our policy is 184 euros a month. It does not have any copays, because as a digital nomad visa, you cannot have a policy that has copays on it. And we also, at the end of the year, they put a payment back in your account if you've paid your health insurance all month, all year on time. I about died. I said, I got to call the insurance company, because there is a $184 payment that got put into the account instead of taking out. And when I called them, and they said, yeah, you paid your insurance all year, you're in good health, we gave you a payment back. The United States didn't do that for me. They didn't do that for me. Okay, so that is the averagely month the cost of healthcare. Now, I do want to add in the prescriptions there as well. In the United States, if my husband had to get his prescription filled, it was about $67. My daughter at one point had to get an EpiPen filled, and that was $600, okay, for her EpiPen. She's got touch sensitivity allergy, so it's not like we can roam around without the EpiPen. I take a medication, and in the United States, it's about 50, 60 euros to get that particular medication every month. Okay, here we fill those exact same prescriptions, and our total for prescription bill usually at the end of the month comes to maybe 100 euro. Maybe. I also had a surgical procedure here in Spain. It's the same procedure that I had in the United States as well. And when the bill came from the United States from this particular procedure that needs to be done every once in a while, it was about 1,600 euros, right? Or it was about $16,000 in the United States. Here, it was about 1,600 euros. However, the insurance picked up on that. And so my portion of it ended up being zero. It ended up being zero. Okay, so that is healthcare between the United States and Spain when we're breaking down the actual cost. Now let's look at the cost of education here as well, because one of the things we did decide and we opted to do here is my daughter was going to be a junior when she was going into her junior year when we moved here. And one of the things she wanted to do was experiencing going to school online, because she ended up, like many of these children, having a COVID experience. And she was like, oh, I actually kind of like going to school online. And it also gave her an opportunity to move at her own pace and finish earlier if she wanted to. So she could have gone to an international academy live with other people here, and that would have been a particular cost anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000 for the year is something you could have been looking at like an international school. But she decided to do an international school online. Now the cost of that for us is $3,000 for the year, each grade that she's taking on, and those are her basic classes that will get her her degree with some specialty things. But we also did that because my daughter wanted to study languages. So in place of going to a traditional school, she did the online school, and then she got to enroll in the Japanese and Chinese Center here in Spain. And that is where she spends a lot of her time doing cultural things with the other students and people globally who are studying Japanese and Chinese as a language and as a cultural resource. Now, we pay for one-on-one lessons for a month, to include membership to the entire Japanese Cultural Center, €90 a month. I could not have gotten a private lesson for her for $90 for the month in the United States. Absolutely not. I myself, as another educational institute, am studying Korean. It's my third year studying Korean, but I was studying it in the United States and easily spending about $1,000 a month in lessons and training. Okay. Here, I'm in class 3 to 4 times a week, plus intercambios, plus other events that are going on. And for the entire year of studying Korean, I pay €500. So when we're even talking about your ability to invest in additional forms of education that make us better global citizens, again, we see that this is a cost that you could choose to incur or not as you're coming into Spain. Now, what about we're going out, we're having fun, the pleasure, the leisure bill, the miscellaneous things? What do the costs of those look like? Well, in the United States, we really pulled back on it because every outing ended up being, between 70 and 100 euros, $70 and $100 to be able to go out and do something leisurely, to be able to do something fun, to be able to move the whole family around. It's just getting very costly very fast. Here in Spain, we go out all the time with all of us, and we leave the table maybe spending €30. We get on a bus and go to a whole other city, and we've spent €20 for the entire day. That includes the bus ride. That includes sitting down at a cafe for a cafelito and a little something to eat. Maybe we've had a serranito, a bocadillo, a sandwich, or something like that, and we've eaten and we've moved around. So we budget this for us. We budget every week for about €50 a month in pleasure spending that we're able to go outside of the house and be able to use. So this comes out to be about €200 for us for the month in order to go out and do what we need to do. Now, these are great overview costs of what we're working with in terms of real numbers. There are other things that creep in here, like hair care products or things like that. And so those are costs that I would, for you, see how they work into your budget, but I can tell you that they are typically cheaper to interact with here in Spain as well. The only thing that may be different is if you are a person of color and you need particular hair care products, those can tend to be a little bit more expensive in Spain because not every brand is internationally known or internationally serviced. If you are also looking for particular hair to do hairstyles, these may be a little bit more expensive as well. But in baseline costs from housing, food and groceries, things maybe for pet, transportation, medical, looking at things for education and looking for entertainment in the United States a month, I was spending a little bit over $5,000 a month to cover all of these costs. Quite regularly, it was over that. The $5,000 point was typically a low-end month for us. And here in Spain, for all of those same costs, I spend less than 3,000 euros a month. So when it comes down to it, to the total costs we were looking at in a year, the annual spending in the United States, we were spending between $66,000 and $70,000 a year just to live our lives and have our beings. And in Spain, we spend about 33. So, I've got a post on my blog if you want to check it out. You want to get more into those numbers. You want to look at a couple links that I've got for you as well that can help you see how you can work with your budget, and also to help you see the difference. If you're coming without a family, you can bring this cost very much so way down. Now, before we leave this video, make sure you click in the description box down below and get my Living and Moving Abroad guide, because it's also really going to help you with the insurance carriers and other ways that you can live abroad and move to Spain. All right, if you found value in this video, please click the thumbs up. If you have questions about costs, I would love to let you know that. So just let me know in the comment section down below. Check out this video next, and definitely check out this video if you happen to be a person of color and you're wondering what it's like to be a person of color living in Spain. I talk about my experience in this video. Bye, guys.